Tonight in Salt Lake City, there's LeBron James. He and the 8th place Lakers will run. Well, he won't, but the 9th place Jazz are going to host them in this game. These two teams are separated by 2 games in the West standings. Utah wins tonight. It's a 1-game separation. LA wins tonight. It is a 3-game separation. A big one from Salt Lake City. And right now, we welcome in live on Arena Link, Lakers sideline reporter for Spectrum Sports Net, Mike Trudell. And Mike, it is great to see you. We know that LeBron James is going to miss at least the next 3 games, but he might return next Thursday against OKC on TNT. Are you optimistic about his chances of playing in that game?
Rick, first of all, it's great to see you, man, as always. And I'll just tell you what everybody else knows, or maybe doesn't know is a better way to put it, about LeBron, and that's whether or not he'll return in that game. We do know he's going to be reevaluated after these next 3 games, and you would theoretically think if all went well, maybe he can return for game action, but he is yet to practice yet, right? They haven't started to ramp things up. We don't have any reports of progress in that sense, other than the fact that he, of course, is improving just by not being out there in games. So it is a little bit of a wait-and-see mode, Rick, as the Lakers try to survive in what you mentioned is a very tight Western Conference playoff race.
No doubt about it, man. And what have the Lakers learned? I mean, you're with them every game and seeing it up close and personal. What have they learned about themselves in these 8 games without LeBron?
You know, so they're starting to get better. I think you have to put it into context as well that it's not just LeBron that's out. It's Rajon Rondo, who is kind of a secondary leader and playmaker, and then they missed Kyle Kuzma for 2.5 games when he had a lower back contusion, and we saw what Kuz did last game when he dropped 41 in 3 quarters. So that was certainly a key additional piece. When you have 3 guys out, it just makes things tricky. But the simple fact of it, Rick, offense is what's dropped off completely without LeBron. They ranked 28th in the league in offensive efficiency since LeBron went out on Christmas Day. Defense, on the other hand, has been great. They've actually been the 2nd best defensive team in the entire NBA over the course of that time frame. So that's what we've seen. LeBron has been that important to the offense. And, you know, you got to shout out Rondo a little bit, too, for what he's been doing.
No doubt. Great point and great stats right there as well. Now, Luke Walton recently told Brandon Ingram and Alonzo Ball to play with more passion. How was that message received?
Well, he said it after the Minnesota game, which was one of the worst games of the season for the Lakers. They weren't in it really right from the start. And Rick, you know, especially for a couple of Minnesota guys like you and myself, probably watched that one. And as things went for the next couple of games, though, they really answered the bell. That was for a tough road win in Dallas, where the Mavs had been 15-3. And then, of course, the Lakers beat Detroit rather handily at home. And the way that Luke put it into context was, look, he always expects more from these players. It wasn't so much a criticism and a critique, although, of course, he was criticizing the last couple of games that they had put in. But when LeBron went out, that changed what the expectation was for those 2 players. And sometimes it takes a bit of an adjustment time from when you're just you're operating under a certain context, when LeBron's on the court, and then when he's not, you do have to change the approach. And Luke went to the public, and so far they've responded. And look, they're going to need him to do so again tonight if the Lakers are hopeful to get a win in a tough place to play right here in Utah.
Mike, really appreciate it, man. You know I'll be texting you in the days to come for intel on your Lakers. Enjoy the game, safe travels, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, my pleasure. Always good to see you, man.
That's my dude right there, Mike Trudell, Rick Kamla, Steve Smith, and Brendan Haywood here on Game Time Live, presented by State Farm. Now, Kyle Kuzma dropped a career-high 41 Wednesday in 29 minutes. It was a wide score, so his services weren't required in the 4th quarter. Last year, 16.1. This year, 18.8. Put his ascension into perspective.
Well, what I like about it is sometimes you score some points when you're not winning games. And now he's added to his point average, Brendan and Rick, and they're winning games. And he works on his game. He has the mindset and the size and ability to be a great guy to play off a guy like LeBron James or even off Brandon Ingram and Alonzo Ball before LeBron got there. This kid is a scorer's mentality. And I look at him as, yes, he doesn't pass a lot, Brendan and Rick, but this kid is a scorer, and it doesn't bother him. I am what I am. I play hard. I work on my game. I've been knowing him and seeing him since he was young in high school. This kid has that type of ability.
I think it's amazing when you look at his ascension I think what's really truly amazing about it is the fact that he wasn't supposed to be the guy. The guy that was supposed to make the big jump and be LeBron James' number 2 was Brandon Ingram. And when you look at how it's gone, he hasn't stepped on anybody's toes. He just maximized his potential, and he's taken advantage of opportunities when they presented himself to them, like LeBron James being out right now. Now was my chance to go for 40 and help us win a basketball game. That's something he might not have a chance to do when LeBron is there. So I look at him taking advantage of opportunity, the way he plays, the confidence, and I think that we're going to see him play even better because this was a guy that shot 36% from 3 last year. This year, he's only shooting 30% from 3, and he's taking 6 threes a game. So that's a low percentage to take that amount of threes. We know he's going to catch up to that number that he shot last year at some point, and when he does, look for his scoring average to possibly go over 20.
And also, Brendan, he's going to have to rebound the basketball better. At that size, I can't come up with them 1 and 2s. He's going to have to get on the glass at that size.
And I know Brendan was clocking the rebound column in that 41-point game the other night.
Well, he normally averages about 6 rebounds. So I'm just going to say that's one of those anomaly games where he had it going, and he was just focusing strictly on his offense. When LeBron comes back,
Kuz, go get on the glass.
Hey, when LeBron comes back, he'll be back to rebound again.
On the glass.
Look, Blake Griffin played 37 minutes the other night and had no rebounds, all right? It happens sometimes. Let's get